What's up, guys? It is Sam here, and I wanted to talk about what I am currently taking from a compound standpoint and throughout the day, the timing and whatnot associated with that. I haven't done one of these update videos in quite a while. If this is your first time here, what's up? I'm Sam. And if you're returning, it's good to freaking see you. So, what I'm going to do is start in the morning and then kind of work my way throughout the day. In terms of my thought process behind what I'm doing and the consumption of the things that I am consuming. Also, I'm not a doctor. All this is strictly for entertainment purposes. Don't do anything I do in any of these videos. It's probably not a fucking good idea. And anything related to SARMs is just for research purposes under supervision by my doctor. All right, with that being said. So, first thing in the morning, I like to drink a bunch of water, just the very super basics. I just have the cheap multivitamin. This actually has the same amount of vitamins and two extra minerals, I think it was, that were not in the more expensive brand. So I went through the label and measured the amount of milligrams that I use of everything in here versus the name brand, and this actually had exactly the same, but it actually had two other things in there. The next is caffeine pills, 200 milligrams, so one multivitamin first thing in the morning, one caffeine pill, which is 200 milligrams of caffeine. The next, this is 7 days a week, is one Ligandrol, 4033, first thing in the morning. And the next, it depends. So these next two things depend on what I'm doing and what's going on, psychologically where I feel and that kind of thing. So if it is a non-training day or I'm just feeling special, that is when I like to add in these other two compounds. MK677. So on non-training days, and I'll explain this in a second, MK677. Sometimes on training days, but most of the time not on training days. And then Ostarine at 10, sometimes 30 milligrams, probably once a week. Just to change shit up. I think I'm actually going to rotate in another compound and actually cut back on the Ligandrol. I don't know how I'm going to play it, but I will keep you guys posted. If you want to follow along with that, make sure you press that subscribe button and the bell notification so YouTube can notify you. Now, let's get into the fun stuff. Okay, so we've got testosterone, cypionate, 200 to 250 milligrams per day. If you have not seen my other video on testosterone, there's a benzo alcohol that they put in with the testosterone when they're making it, and sometimes that can be too high, or sometimes people can be allergic to it, or sometimes you can have not a good mixing batch, or you can have a very high milligram per milliliter, and all of these things can cause an infection or inflammation in the injection at the site injection. So doing this with 200 or 250 milligrams was excruciatingly pain. After I did it, it was like hard to walk, hard to move, get up from chairs, and that kind of thing. How painful that was, and I don't know if it was an allergic reaction or some type of inflammation from it being not sterile. So I have a friend who's using the same batch on the same order from the TRT clinic, of course, that does not have any issues whatsoever. So I believe that I'm allergic, and so now what I do is I just take 8 ticks on here, which is a teensy, just this tiny little bit on here. That's what I take every day, though. So what that comes out to be, right? It's generally about, say, 30 to 40 milligrams per day Whereas if you do 3 times 7, that's 210. If you do 4 times 7, that is 280. So a lot of the times I'll take one day off because I feel like I'd rather be conservative on that. And sometimes it's a little over, you know. Sometimes it's hard to get the exact amount that I want, or I pulled out a little bit too much. So a lot of times one day a week I will take off from the testosterone, but that is another day where sometimes I add in Osta. On a quick side note, why do I have all the lids off on all these compounds? It's because it's way easier for me to just go boom every single morning. I know what I'm getting and I just dump the shit out into my hand and we're good. Like, I don't have to take a top off. And if you're doing this 7 days a week kind of thing, it just, those little micro improvements or changes save time. So now the next thing that I like to do pre-workout is hexarelin. So this has been week number 2 so far. 200 to 300 micrograms would be crazy, micrograms of hexarelin pre-workout, about 30 minutes to an hour before pre-workout. That I am definitely liking. I get a tremendous pump from it. I do feel slightly lethargic. I'm not sure if it's from that or just from the working out and just being like a long day. But it's only been 2 weeks, so I'm not sure if it's from that or just life or changing that mentality of doing that up there now, or just like, you know, expending a lot of energy and getting to the gym and just kind of being exhausted. I think there's more mental things that I need to work on to raise the energy level up so that I can perform better in the gym. Now, sometimes in the evening, if it's a day off from hexarelin, I only take pre-workout. That's a secretagogue for HGH. Think of it as like GHRP6, GHRP2, and then hexarelin. You can kind of think of it as that generational. There's other steps in there, and there's cimarolin and epimorolin. There's other ones on there, but just you can think of it as that sequence where hexarelin has a lot of the benefits with not as many of the side effects as GHRP6. It does desensitize, but it takes a little bit of time. So anyways, I take that 5 days a week, right? Training days. And then on the days where I do not take the hexarelin, that's when I take the MK677. Most of the time it's at 10 milligrams per day first thing in the morning. However, sometimes I do 10 in the morning and 10 in the evening on those days off. And that pretty much rounds out like all the stuff that I'm currently researching with. If you guys have any questions down below, leave them in the comments below, or reach out to me on Instagram. There's a link in the description. Jump over to Instagram and say what's up. If you guys have any questions about anything, let me know. And don't forget to subscribe to see other videos like this in the future. Also, if you want to see the progress update, check out the video I posted from yesterday. That was completely depleted, 0 carbs, or maybe 3 to 5 grams of carbs just from the vegetables that I was eating that day. No carbs throughout that day. So if you want to see the physique update, go check out the video before this one. Peace.